What's up, guys? I'm back with another movie review. Today I've got another one from Olive Films, and it is Birdman of Alcatraz. So this one stars Burt Lancaster as Robert Stroud, who went to prison as kind of a repeat criminal, just kind of had a lot of problems with authority and kind of doing what he was supposed to do. Ends up in prison, immediately clashes with the prison guards and the warden because he doesn't like to be told what to do. This leads to him eventually murdering a guard, which gets him a death sentence. But his mom really rallies on his behalf and ends up getting it commuted to a life sentence. While he's there, he learns that because he was sentenced to solitary confinement until he was, put to death, that because it got commuted to life, his sentence will be to serve life in prison in solitary confinement. This obviously is devastating to him and causes him a lot of problems. But one day, on his very brief amount of time that he got out, and he gets out in the exercise yard. He finds a bird that's injured. He nurses the bird back to health. Word of it kind of spreads around, and pretty soon it becomes okay for the prisoners to have little birds as pets. And this kind of leads to him becoming Birdman, not of Alcatraz, of Leavenworth, and then eventually he ends up going to Alcatraz. So this movie stars Burt Lancaster, and his performance is really great. The issues that I have with this movie, even though I do think it's a good movie, don't get me wrong. Is that it's so long. It's all like 2.5 hours long. It's just, and I understand why it makes sense because the passage of time is an important part of this movie. It takes place over decades. So being able to feel how slowly time is moving is an important part of the story. And so I understand why, but it still makes it a little bit tedious to watch because not a lot happens in this movie. It very much depends on the performances. And while they're good, there's just not always enough narrative or character development going on to carry the movie for that long. The other issue I have with it is that it's wildly inaccurate to the real life Birdman of Alcatraz, who was a sexual predator and a violent criminal and just a pretty dangerous person. And in the movie, he's portrayed as kind of a kindly, misunderstood but abrasive guy. In real life, people really rallied to get the real life guy out of prison. Which is ridiculous to me. It would be like, the guy's an admitted sexual predator and murderer, and you have Hollywood being like, hey, let's get this guy out of prison. So anyway, it's just kind of silly. So even though it is based on a true story, it is very inaccurate to the real life events, which kind of dampens it to me because much like The Greatest Showman, which portrayed P.T. Barnum, who was a very exploitative guy as being this generous, kind hero, when you know that it's just so far off base, I think, at least to me, it kind of takes me out of it. But Birdman of Alcatraz is still a really good movie. It's got great performances from Burt Lancaster, Carl Malden, Telly Savalas, Thelma Ritter. There's just a lot of really good work in here. And the story is interesting. It just kind of takes me out of it because I know how inaccurate it is. But it is what it is. I still think it's a really good movie. The Blu-ray from Olive Films has a really nice looking transfer. Really, really good. Looks much better than the DVD. I didn't directly compare it to the old Twilight Time Blu-ray, so I can't say for sure. But I have seen both, and I really couldn't tell much of a difference, if there is one, as far as picture quality. And then there's also an audio commentary from a woman who wrote a biography of Burt Lancaster. So there is an extra on there. As to which one you should get, that's completely up to you. I'm a movie guy, so as long as the transfer is about the same, I would just pick whichever one was cheaper. The Twilight Time version is out of print. This Olive Films version obviously is in print as of this video, so you can save a little bit of money. But otherwise, you just kind of look at the extras and decide which one you think is better. I like the movie. I think the disc is a good deal. It's like $15 on Amazon normally. So if you're a fan of classic movies or prison movies or Burt Lancaster, give it a look. But for me, it's a really slow, deliberate movie that takes a lot of liberties with the real life story. But it's still, if you ignore the fact that this guy is a horrible sexual predator and a murderer, it's an inspiring story, right? So anyway, that's my review of Birdman of Alcatraz. You can read my full write-up at markfusion.com, as well as over 1,000 other movie reviews. You can also watch hundreds of other movie reviews in the playlist here on YouTube. That's a great way to help me out, is to watch those older videos. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, all that kind of fun stuff at markfusion. Patreon, $5 a month gets you exclusive content. You can also follow me on Letterboxd. I diary what I'm watching there, so you can get an idea of what might be coming up on the channel soon if you're interested in that. But the best way you can help me out is just to watch some old videos. That helps me with my view count. It helps me with my minute count, which are the current hurdles that YouTube puts in front of smaller channels to try to, for some reason, hold us back. So that definitely helps. Subbing to the channel is a huge deal and definitely helps me out. These are free, easy, direct ways that you can help me out so that I can continue to make these videos. And I do greatly appreciate your support, and I definitely appreciate you watching my Birdman of Alcatraz review. I really wish that someone would do a modern remake. Even though this is stupid, I think they should do a modern remake and have the birds fly the guy out of prison. But oh well, that's just my opinion. So thank you for watching this video. I do really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you guys soon.